Talisker 18. What's it like, and is it worth it at today's prices? Also, how does it compare to Indy Talisker? Should this be the way you go? Stay tuned for the Whisky Whistle. Greetings, my whiskey people. Mark Hoffman here for Whisky Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America. Here I am, and it is the middle of May, just about. And, well, I've got a very special review for you today. They all seem to be very special. I always say this. For me, they're always special. It's always a special day when I get to try something fabulous. In this case, like Talisker 18. Now, I've had my eye on this for quite a while, and I'll get this poured right now. I dropped the ball once when I saw the 18-year-old being sold for about $150 in South Korea. Of course, I always talk about South Korea and all the great prices that I find there, but in fact, actually, most things are more expensive. So that was quite an anomaly. Anyway, I didn't buy it and I couldn't get it. And then I guess it was the year 2000 I was there, and lo and behold, there was one for $210. So I thought, well, it's a little more than the last time, but you know, at that point in time, that was a great deal for that. Something that I can't really get in Canada. So I grabbed it, and as you can see, I've enjoyed quite a lot of it. And in the meantime, what's happened is Talisker has rebranded. They have premiumized. I mean, they already were premiumized, but they've really tried to meet the market of, let's say, not quite Macallan 18, but they're trying to approach that type of premium ticket for their, I guess, their oldest bottle of standard released Talisker, which is the 18. By the way, it's bourbon and sherry cask matured. It's 45.8%, like all Taliskers typically are, until you get up to the 57 degrees north, which is, 57%, I believe. 100 proof. Anyway, so that's the story here. I've poured some. We're going to let that sit for a little while. And I already kind of hinted that there was going to be something extra going on here. There's another bottle. So yes, here we have this interesting bottle of Hepburn's Choice from Hunter Lang. And this is a 9-year-old Talisker, fully matured in a sherry cask, filled from a sherry butt. Anyway, let's get some of that poured. Label forward, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's a double review. No color added, unchill filtered, 46%. Chill filtered for sure. Maybe lightly, however. Diageo does seem to stop doing that around 46 for some things. I've noticed, like everybody's favorite Kleinlich seems to be unchill filtered, but it's not stated, so we don't know for sure. And this for sure has color added. Look at the difference there. The 9-year-old in the sherry butt is darker than the Talisker 18 with color added. And let's have a look at that together. Here's the color for you to check out. So very golden for Talisker 18, and a little bit more pinky, reddy, ambery hue coming through on the Talisker 9 from Hepburn's Choice. I guess I should put this up here, shouldn't I? Let me just adjust things a little. I think that can fit right there. A little precarious. I'll have to be careful. What are we going to do here? Well, we're going to try these. We're going to compare them. I want to figure out, how good is this? It's fantastic. It's a great whiskey. But is it worth the current price? And I don't think I mentioned that yet. The best price that I've seen is Master of Malt for 189 pounds. So that gives you an idea that it's basically, they've doubled the price pretty near. So is it still worth it at that price? And we can compare it to Talisker that we bought before, and then obviously not, but we should compare Talisker 18, the new price, with other products at the current prices today. That makes sense, doesn't it? I kind of feel like we should start with the Hepburn's Choice. It's 9 years old. But I also feel like we should start with Talisker 18 because it does have bourbon and sherry casks. So, I don't know. I think, can I flip a coin? No, I don't have a coin here. Lighter toss? That's dangerous. Well, okay, so we'll start with the Hepburn's Choice 9-year-old. And for both cases, we're going to go through the nosing, the palate, and the finish. The smell, the taste, the aftertaste. Without water, neat first, and then with water afterwards. And then give it a Whisky Whistle whiskey score, and then go on to the next and follow the same program of tasting. Finally, we'll compare these two a little bit and see which way I think that a Talisker lover today should go. And I know that that I've got probably Bobby Parnell online. Hopefully you're watching now. He's a big Talisker fan. Hello, Bobby. Hope you're well. And I've got a new Patreon supporter, in fact, and we'll talk about that at some point, but not today, I don't think. So we'll get right started. We'll check out the legs next. Before I do that, make sure you subscribe to Whisky Whistle. Subscribe and hit the bell as well, ding ding, so you're notified of future Whisky Whistles. Don't forget also to check me out on Patreon, patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle, Patreon/whiskey, no E, whistle, .com. No. Patreon.com, there we go, /whiskey, no E, whistle. Then you'll find me there. You'll get your name in the credits at the end of each video. You'll also get advanced viewership of future Whisky Whistles. Okay, so let's have a look at the legs for both of these. We'll do that simultaneously. Okay, let's check these legs out. The race is on. Now, the Hepburn's Choice, the legs are more well defined. The Talisker 18 looks slightly less so. That's not to say that there's going to be a big difference here, but for both of them, they certainly have very appealing legs, and I'm expecting we will have a nice viscosity in the mouth for these. Some very slow, little drizzly legs there coming down for Talisker 18. Beautiful. All right. Okay, so on to Hepburn's Choice Talisker 9-year-old. Filled from a sherry butt. Gentle smoke, raspberries, some wisps of ginger, something a little bit medicinal. Speaking of medicinal, you might notice I've got a little something going on here. I burnt myself with a flaming marshmallow. Do take care when you're blowing those out not to use too much force or just drop them in the fire. It went right down my shirt. So a little bit medicinal. There's a little bit of grain like a wheat or an oat porridge. Something a bit grassy. So you've got the smoke, pepper, raspberries, the ginger, that medicinal note as well. Very, very interesting. Let's check out the palate then. Cheers. Beautifully sweet. Red berries. Pepper carrying through. So it's like you're having, accompanying with your steak, some kind of a berry compote with pepper added and a bit of ginger. A drizzle of the really good quality balsamic vinegar. And then the finish you're getting, I'm getting, again, the red fruits, the pepper, the ginger coming back. Really, really delicious. And it's definitely got everything that a Talisker nut would want. I feel like the price was about $150 for this. And then a whiskey base estate, £65 to $95. So that gives you an idea of the price point, about half of the Talisker 18. Now, of course, it should be a little bit cheaper. Hepburn's Choice is always a little bit more affordable than your official bottlings, and it's also a 9-year-old. But you're getting fully sherry matured, which is a bonus. You're also getting unchill filtered and natural color and 46% ABV. Super delicious. Let's add a little bit of water. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of Islay water this time. Okay, we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drops. Less than a milliliter, about 2/3 of a milliliter. So just a little nudge in the lower direction for ABV, and hopefully a bump up in experience. Let's see how things do here. Interestingly, it becomes butterier, like buttery grain toast. The peat has subsided somewhat. It's there in the background, but not as much in the foreground. And a little bit of a mutedness of the red berries at first. But then as you sit there nosing it, letting things come to equilibrium, that's a word I always forget, you do get more out. I'm getting also a little bit of darkly toasted toast. And even a little bit of roasted coffee, and that's really, really neat. The palate with water. A little bit more medicinal. There's a little bit of almost like strawberry flavored cough syrup, something like that going on. Still gingery, candied ginger, carrying through into the finish, along with that medicinal quality. It's a tad light on the palate, but the flavor certainly coats nicely. The finish is medium, edging towards long, but it's mainly just the dryness that carries on, and a little bit of that medicinal, and a tiny bit of the red berries, still some toasted bread with butter carrying through all around here. Well, that's quite lovely. And I'm going to get right into the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Hepburn's Choice Talisker 9-year-old. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 90 out of 100. You heard it. 90 out of 100 is the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Hepburn's Choice Talisker 9-year-old, filled from a sherry butt. Distilled in 2011, bottled in 2020, one of 903 bottles. So that gives you an idea there. And it states right on there, Never colored, never chill filtered. Let's give it a Whisky Whistle whiskey hug. A malt hug. And I'm going to give it a nice little kiss on the Hepburn's Choice label. Mwah. Great stuff. And what you've been waiting for now, we'll get into the Talisker 18, but I'll pour myself a little bit of coffee. And I'm using my wife's Starbucks. This is the Hangul Day. Hangul Day, the day that Koreans celebrate the creation of Hangul, the Korean script. This is celebrating the 571st year of the Korean script. This is from 2017, so 570 77 will be this year. Pardon me. A little water to wash that down. All right, ready. Let's get into Talisker 18. Now, though there's bourbon in this vatting of Talisker barrels, the nose is predominantly sherry, and it's very much in line with the Hepburn's Choice, just older. Richer, sweeter, and more of the red berries, and not just raspberries, but some really ripe strawberries, field strawberries. The pepper is muted. The Hepburn's Choice 9-year-old Talisker has more pepper on it. And there's still some kind of a medicinal strawberry-like cough syrup happening here on the nose. Very mild peat, very mild. A little bit of the vanilla, probably from the bourbon barrels, kicking in here. Oh, it's really lovely. This is a beautiful nose. Okay, on to the palate. Cheers, folks. It's much subtler. It's not as active as this 9-year-old. Oftentimes younger, like 9-10-year-old whiskeys can be a little bit aggressive, and things get mellow as they get towards 20 years old. But really delicious sherry-influenced red berries. The strawberries coming through here. Strawberry, raspberry jam as well. Tiny little bit of ginger. A sprinkling of pepper, but very minimal. Sweet, lozengey, slightly peppery. A kiss of peat. Very long finish here. A much longer finish than the 9-year-old. That is, however, to be expected. Let's keep the whiskey in our mouths for 18 seconds. Delicious cough syrup. This would make absolutely the best hot toddy in the world, hands down, for sure. In fact, this is so medicinal-like medicinal. That's a better word. It is so medicinal that it's almost numbing the inside of my mouth. I'm ready for dental surgery now. Now that would be a dentist that I would go to for sure. Here, have a glass of Talisker 18, and then we'll prep you for surgery. This has subtly has the ethereal, slightly body tingling effect that I occasionally get from certain whiskeys and certain cognacs, and even some soju and paiju. And especially the flavor in my mouth has the most bizarre effect of really taking over the inside, the entire inside of my mouth. As weird as that sounds. Very long finish, especially the red fruits, that bit of pepper, that kiss of peat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put only 5 drops into the Talisker 18. Take care with water when you're adding it to older whiskeys. Start with less, because less is often more. Okay. And again, things get muted with water added here. And I think that some people, I have a member in the club, actually, Winnipeg Whiskey Club, who does not add water to whiskey. And I think it's because of perhaps the likelihood that you'll add water and then immediately smell it and not give it its time to reach equilibrium. There's that word again. So let's wait here. And I want to compare with the Hepburn's Choice 9-year-old Talisker. Hey, Lee. Now, this wood is, if it's not first fill, then it's second fill. And the sherry seasoned the barrel for not that long, and it hadn't been used before. So virgin barrel, seasoned with sherry, used once, and then used a second time here for the Hepburn's Choice. So a much sweeter oaky edge to the Talisker 18, the Talisker 9 from Hepburn's Choice. I don't want to take a sip yet because I think that's going to influence my focus here for Talisker 18. I'm salivating. A little bit more astringent, and that's actually a good thing because it's balancing the sweetness quite nicely. And there's like a Laffy Taffy, sweet saltwater taffy thing going on here. Maybe a bit of mint mixed with a little bit of strawberry. That kiss of salt. With the water added now. The pepper. The Talisker pepper is resurging here. And tasting this, I'm reminded of the Diageo barrels. They have a particular style of barrel that they often use. There's a flavor that I'm getting here that I got in the Talisker, what is it called? Distiller's Edition, I think that's it. So the Distiller's Edition, the extra matured, like double matured Talisker. I think I have, do I have it? The Distiller's Edition. Double matured. This is TD-S 5VH, by the way. So there's something that's not dissimilar here, and I want to explore this. So this is going to become a little bit of a triple review here, but I'm not going to do a full review on this. I already did one. I'll put a link to that one in the description, and I'll add a little something up here right about now, if I can think of it. This is really bastardized with color added for sure. That's the darkest of them all. Okay. But yeah, there's a particular cask, a particular methodology of prepping. However they're doing that, it's a definite style. There's a Diageo style for casks, and it's different. And it's not as in-your-face sherry, which I think is a good thing. This is not a sherry bomb. You don't get a lot of sherry bombs coming from Diageo. Some rare cases, but it's nice that they're focusing on the distillate and using the cask as a vehicle for adding maturity, for purification with barrel, the char inside barrel, and everything coming out so that it's still recognizable. And I think that's really, really great. And you have to try that. Keep the liquid in your mouth for 20 seconds. Oh, incredible. And tell me you're not ready for dental surgery right now. Tooth extract. Anyway, fantastic whiskey. First of all, on to the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Talisker 18. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 93 out of 100. You heard it, 93 out of 100 is the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Talisker 18, the older version. The newer one has some orange accents on there. So we can talk about this two ways. 93 points and let's say $220, $230 Canadian. Yes, that's a yes. That's the old price. The new price, like approaching $400. You can find better whiskeys than this for less. You can find 18-year-old whiskeys for less than this. If you're a Talisker junkie, there are options out there. Check out Ben Romick. Check out, Glen Scotia. How about some Indy Ardmore? What about Tobermory, their peated whiskey called Lechek? Most of those will be a little bit peatier than Talisker 18. The Ben Romick will be a little bit similar, maybe slightly peatier. But these are options that you have out there. What about peated cask matured Speyside. That could be very interesting. But anyway, so Talisker 10, superb value. What about this 9-year-old? I mean, that's pretty insane. I paid a pretty good price, $150, and I'm getting something that, you know, few will be able to get, and I've got that in my collection. It's going to do great in the future. But anyway, my point is that this is fantastic, but they've moved on. I guess the last question that I want to answer then is, how does Talisker 18 rate compared to Mac 18, compared to any other ultra high brand 18-year-olds? We've got Glenmorangie 18, better price. I think Glenmorangie 18 isn't as good as this, but I mean it's much less expensive. You've got Lagavulin 16. You can still get that for like $180. It's worth thinking about, right? But if you're trying to match with Macallan 18 and your Talisker, I don't know if they're going to do really well at that price point. I wonder. I really wonder. I wanted to try the Distiller's Edition a little bit here. So finished in likely very similar casks. What are these casks called again? Ex Amoroso casks, which I believe is basically just Oloroso and PX. Maybe that's mixed, or maybe it's another word for Oloroso. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's not as sherried, but super delicious. One last sip of Talisker 18. It's an outstanding whiskey. The last thing that I want to do here, and yeah, I'm going to do it. Here we go. A 9-year-old plus an 18-year-old. Should we add the Distiller's Edition? I think so. So I've got a Talisker Melange for tonight. And it just smells amazing. The oak from the Hepburn's Choice, the elegance from the 18-year-old, the just standard Talisker pepper and flavor from the double matured Distiller's Edition. Delicious. Well, pardon me. I sure hope you enjoyed that. Again, my name is Mark. You're watching Whisky Whistle, and I'll see you very soon. Take care, folks. Don't forget to tell me what you think of these products. Have you tried that one? Do you have an 18-year-old? Do you like the Distiller's Edition? I'd love to hear from you, okay? Take care, folks. Bye-bye.